I have to call him Mukundan because I cannot call him Mukundan, which is what one would normally call an author one has worked with, but this is Mukundan for us. And I'm hoping there are some Malayalis at least who know that Etan simply means, well, respect and older person, nothing more or less. Mukundan has just written a novel which is very different from the one that we're going to talk about, but that is for later. We're going to talk about this novel called You, which was published in Malayalam as Ningal. Came out a couple of years ago in Malayalam, published by DC Books. And I remember seeing a message from him a few months after it came out, which said, you know, it's going into another edition already, and it's doing really well, and people are, you know, talking to me about it, etc. And when we published it in English just now, literally, it came out at a time when one of the main themes of the book, euthanasia, has come into the news a lot recently. I don't know if you read about it, but Canada, there's been some controversy about mercy killing becoming something that is actually driving young people who are merely, I don't mean merely in one sense, but they're depressed, they need care, they need help, but they are choosing to opt for death. And they are getting the right of aided death, even at that age. Britain has just voted for this to be possible for terminally ill patients. And in India, it's a question that's been swirling around the legal system for some time now. And Mukundan has been a bit of a champion for euthanasia. That is one of the primary themes he deals with in this novel. There's also the larger theme, which is this great mystery of the horrible, arrogant, misogynist Malayali man wedded to his alcohol and does not know how to deal with women for the most part. But this is a theme that his books often come back to. His men are empathetic and wonderful and know how to do a lot of these things, which most Malayali men don't. I'm sorry for all the Malayali. But you know, the women will know what I mean when I say there is a problem. Yes, and he deals with the Malayali man very, very differently. So we're going to talk about all of this, but I'm going to start by requesting him to sit now that the lights have gone off. And I'm going to start him talking about something very different, which is his first book, which made him appear on the big stage of Kerala literature, was about Mahe, the place that he grew up in, where he lives even now. And one of the things that people say about him is that he's Mayuri's storyteller. He's Mahi's storyteller. And I think the best way, I'm sure most of you have not read You. The novel is just out. So maybe we should talk about the themes, but maybe we should let Mukundan tell us some stories from Mahe and living there, writing there, and then we can lead into the novel. What do you think? Okay. Now I'm leading you to it.
So, well, everybody says that, you know, I am the storyteller of Mayaji, Mahi. Well, that's true. But I don't want to get stuck there, you know, trapped there. I want to break free. So that's why, you know, I am exploring more new themes. And, well, we will start talking about our new novel. Yeah.
You want to start talking with that? No.
Straight away?
Okay, why not?
Or we?
Okay.
Straight away.
Okay, you start.
So the novel, that is You. That is you. Because this is the first time when I am writing a novel in second person. Otherwise, you know, it's always third person or first person. Usually it is third person. We say that he or she, the character. Is, sometimes we say I, the first person. But so far as I know, nobody has written, you know, a novel, at least in Indian languages, with the character, the main character, the protagonist is you. That is second person. So that way, you know, when you read it, I am talking to you. So, for example, the main character is Unikrishnan, and I say that you, Unikrishnan, yeah, you're born on such and such date. Then you think that, you know, when you read, you are Unikrishnan. See? So each person, each reader thinks that, you know, I am talking to them, I'm telling their story. That is the way. But I think that is the narrative part of it. But I think we should talk rather about this theme. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about how the story came to you,
Yeah.
why you wanted to
Yeah.
write this.
Because I have been pondering a lot about on death. Maybe I don't think it's because of my advanced age. It could be a reason, but it could be one of the many reasons. But actually, always, even I was very young, I felt that I am an old man. I used to think about death always, even now. But the reason why I thinking about death, it always changes. In the 60s, when I thought of death, there was the reason, this Albert Camus, his book Happy Death, or the absurdity and all that. Now I think, not only me, most of us, we think about death because, I'll tell you, for example, you overeat. When you overeat, what happens? You feel discomfort in the gut. I think it's true. And in the same way, when you overlive, rather, that means when you live in excess, you feel discomfort, but not in the gut, but in the heart. So this is what's happening now. We are all living in excess. So
What do you mean by that, Mukundan?
excess, that means we want to live fast, we want everything, but in the olden days, our life was very simple, very simple. We didn't have so much, greed. Now we need everything. We become greedy. That's what I mean by living in excess. So that, forces us to think about death. But when you are in love with life, when you live in excess, then you're scared of death. That is why we think about death too much now, because there is life, plenty of life, so you want to enjoy it, you want to overlive, then you're scared that one day I would die. But this is how the idea came to me, the idea of writing about death. But there are other reasons also. But always, in this particular book, there is always this recurring theme, death. For example, I think it's Ben Okri. Ben Okri, in his novel, Mira knows that, because I once told her about it. Ben Okri's novel, The Famished Land. In that novel, he says that the character, the protagonist says that I am standing on the road, but there is an invisible river running beneath the road. So it is not there, but it's imagination, but it's there. It's like that in this novel. Wherever you stand in this novel, just beneath your feet, there's a river. That river is the river of death. So that is always in this novel. It's a recurring theme, and that is one of the many themes. This is a multi-layered novel. This is one of the themes. That is that I'm too much concerned about death now.
Mukundan sounds remarkably cheerful when he talks about things like death, morbidity, mortality. There is this sense of mischief that he has even when he's writing about difficult things. And that, I know, as an aside, this is one of the most difficult things to deal with when he's being translated into another language. Because the Malayalam language, the play he has with the words, the fun, the unexpected metaphors and images from, a Kerala life, suddenly in English, they don't have that same spark, that same joy. That's the really hard thing about working with your text. But that's an aside. Tell us about the other major theme in the novel.
Another theme is euthanasia. Karthika told you about the beginning. It's euthanasia. Perhaps that is also major. Yes, it's a major theme. But, and how the idea came to me just because of Aruna Shanbag. I think she's from this state, Karnataka. Once, I happened to see two photographs of Aruna side by side. In one photo, she's a young girl, 22 years old or so, vivacious, attractive, youthful. And the next photo, that is 41 years after, when she was going to die, and I couldn't stand and I couldn't look at it. It's completely under person. She's completely twisted, her body is twisted. Her face looked like a shrunk coconut shell, like that. Then it gave me a shock. Then I was asking myself, why did we keep her alive for so many years, 41 years? There wasn't any way to, liberate her, send her to the other world. That's how the second team, euthanasia.
Yeah, I'm sure everyone in the audience knows who we're talking about, Aruna Shanbag, the nurse in Bombay who was raped and killed and just could not, the law had to take its course finally. I think it took many, many decades before the case was finally resolved. Yeah. So that's what led you to thinking about euthanasia as something you want to write about.
Then when I started writing this novel, when I told a friend about it, he said euthanasia is not allowed in India. You cannot. So he said it will be artificial. It's not true. I talk about euthanasia. But in my opinion, we writers, especially fiction writers, we draft our own constitution. And we draft our own penal code. See, the constitution drafted by Ambedkar, it hardly matters for us, for the fiction writers. We live in a different world, and we have our own constitution, our own penal code. So if euthanasia is not allowed, it hardly matters. But I, as a writer, I say that in my novel, euthanasia is allowed. Because my novel is not India. It is a fictional world. It can be any country. So I take that much freedom. And when you read, I don't tell you the whole thing. You will see that how this Unikrishnan in the age of 70 is trying to free himself from all the agonies of life. And I shouldn't narrate the story, then you won't buy it.
But Mundeta, the other thing about the novel that is so interesting is the life of the writer. Because Unishnan is also a writer, and he's writing. And some of the powerful parts of this novel are the novel he's writing, which goes back in time, which is about the Mapla insurrection, rebellion, whatever you want to call it, that happened, and the violence of that Hindu-Muslim situation in Kerala. So that's a novel within the novel, and that is also something that really just is very deeply affecting. Do you want to tell us why you chose that to write about?
Well, that is the question of freedom, for a creative writer. But we are now in Bangalore, and I think it is in this state that Gauri Lankesh, she was assassinated. So I think I should dedicate this session to the memory of Gauri Lankesh because she's there. She inspired me a lot. And I happen to be in Kerala, otherwise I would have faced the same situation. In Kerala, we writers are protected. We are protected by our own readers and by society. So we are free. But even then, things are changing in Kerala. And slowly, we find that this kind of it's fascism. I think we should call it fascism, straightforward. But for us, we always thought that fascism is something very distant. It's far away. It's not coming to us. But now we have started hearing fascism is on our doors. It's very, very near. And we have also started, feeling this absence of freedom when we write. I too, I have experienced it when I say something, which they don't like. They threaten, they send us anonymous letter and anonymous call. So that is terrible. I have started feeling it. That's why, I thought of writer's freedom. That is the second. There's another theme in the novel. As I said, it's a multi-layered novel.
Yeah, but this writer is also very quirky, and while he's trying to become a writer, he has, there are some very funny parts to this novel where the Charlotte bits, where, so when you start reading it, you're saying, okay, so this man has someone in his life, there's a woman in his life, and it takes a minute before the penny drops and you realize he's talking about a writer long dead. But he talks about her like she's this great love of his life, and how she's part of him and he's part of her. And there are some really funny moments there. So does any of this life of a writer, does it go back to anything that you actually kind of experience for yourself, your own reading, your own growth as a writer? Or this is a completely fictional character with nothing to draw on?
You see, nothing is fictional. I don't think that a writer can imagine everything, So if you go back, you'll find somewhere, something from where this idea or this image originated. Very often it's difficult for me to pinpoint that. But for example, in my novel, famous novel, My there is a character, the hero in Chandrika. I didn't conceive her as Chandrika, as a girl. So how now she came to me, it's the tingling of her, what you call this, Padasaram? What is that, Padasaram? Anklets, yeah, anklets. So I hear the sound of anklets, and from that sound, the character Chandrika was born. I developed her. So sometimes that's how I conceive characters. You see, an image or a sound or something like that. So most of the things I have mentioned, I have experienced. Once, there is, this Unnikrishnan, once he enters an auto rickshaw, and there is inside a Muslim woman. Yeah. The character thinks that, Unnikrishnan he wants to get into an auto rickshaw. And there are a few auto rickshaws that are lined up. And he enters in one, then he sees that there is a Muslim woman in burqa sitting there. Can you imagine what would happen if he just ended, said that this actually I experienced. My wife is there, she's the witness. One day, one day I was trying to get into an auto rickshaw, then immediately she said, no, there is somebody inside. So that is how the characters are born,
Yeah. So, because I really do want you to read the book, I don't want to say too much, but one of the interesting parts about this is also the young boy. He has a problem. He has to look at everything that is covered. So you can imagine an adolescent boy floating around, uncovering whatever he sees. It could be a pot or a pan in the kitchen. It could be a funeral urn with ashes in it. It could be a Muslim woman with a hijab. And he can't resist. So he's got this obsessive interest in uncovering things. So it's just like when you read this novel, how many people, how many situations, how many different things you've woven into it. And what does it all add up for you as a novel? Is it a novel of politics? Is it a novel about Kerala? Is it a novel about growing old? Is it all of these? What does this novel mean for you as a writer?
For me, it's a novel of aging old, I think so, because I am older than the protagonist, Unnikrishnan. He's 70, I am much older than him. So, you see, my perspective is changing. I think when the age catches up, then your perspective changes. Something that excited you long ago when you were 20 or 25, now you wonder that what it is all about. It's nothing. And now I am more curious about, as you said, uncovering the covered things, hidden things. So in this novel, there are so many incidents where the protagonist he tries to uncover. One of them is this Muslim woman. And there are so many other things. But he wants to uncover. That's what I want. I've been, all these years, I have lived in a closed world. I don't know what did trap me in this closed world. Maybe it is an ideology or my faith. I don't know. But I have feeling that, I was living in a closed world. So I want to break free. And for that, to begin with, I had to uncover all these things, including a woman wearing a burqa. I want to lift her burqa and see her face. So,
dangerous things you want to do. But okay, so since you have centered age in the conversation, and age is what drove you to this, what is it that, apart from uncovering things, what is this world that you see around you at this age? What is it that you want for this world around you? I mean, tell us what the writer's ambition for his own people is. You think about this a lot, don't you?
Yeah, you see, in fact, I don't know what's the use of talking about it because I am very pessimistic about it. I want to live in a world, where everybody gets justice, everybody gets his or her share of what is in this world, But well, that is if you analyze, that is kind of Marxist viewpoint. You share everything. But you see, my great disappointment that was when Marx. I tried to understand Marx that sharing everything in the world, and everybody should be happy. But I think that it's impossible. Later on, I realized that, for example, birds, animals, they never share like that. Some birds die of hunger. In the same way, some animals die of hunger. So there is no justice in the nature. Nobody's sharing, So then I wondered that why we human beings, should kind of cultivate this sort of perception about life, that everything we have, which share, everybody should live happily, but that is against nature. That disappointed me terribly. But then what is hope? What is hope in life? First of all, sharing, that's, as I said, it's anti-nature. And supposing you arrive there, that sort of, that stage, that everybody is happy. If you have money, you share with everybody. If you have got rice, share with everybody. That life will be boring. What kind of life it will be? Always struggle, to achieve something. And injustice is part of that struggle, our life. So now I don't know what to do. Only solace, my only dream, that is create a world of my own. That's fiction, that is novel. So I am trying to build a different world. But I am not a magician. Like, for example, Salman Rushdie, in his Victory City, he buys a sack of seeds, and the city grows up from the seeds. But I am not like Salman Rushdie. So I try to build up my own world, which is a fictional world, and this novel is very much part of that fictional world, and I am trying to be happy in that.
I think that's a good point on which to ask if there are any questions from the audience, so we can make this as interactive as possible. If you have a comment or question, please keep it short and crisp. Yeah.
Respected sir, this is not connected with the book. The question is not connected with the book, and this is really not a question. So in your embassy days, the famous book, which is more autobiographical, you have stated that you studied French first. before you learnt your mother tongue Malayalam, you learned French. And you are very good in French typing. And that's how you found a job in the French embassy in New Delhi. We have always felt, at least many people in Bangalore, we have always felt that if you had written in French also, especially the book on Mayari, at least citizens of some 40 French-speaking countries would have had a real literary treat about this beautiful place called Mahi. So there's just a suggestion that since you are very, very good in French, you don't need a translator. You can write that book in French also. There's just a suggestion from many of your fans. Thank you very much, sir. It was great meeting you today. Thank you.
You see, I know a little bit of French, but I'll tell you frankly, I can write a letter in French, but I can't write a love letter in French. Yeah, to write a love letter, I had to use my mother tongue. I can write it only in Malayalam. So it's the same thing about novel, or I cannot write a novel in French because just it's quite simple. I can dream in French. So to dream, you need a language. I always dream in Malayalam, so I can't write in
color?
French.
Do you dream in black and white? Do you dream in color? Do you dream in color?
That's a good question. Yeah, I dream in. My dreams are very often. My life is colorless. But my dreams are colorful. I always dream in multicolor.
I think we have time for just one question, right? It's 12:30. Are we supposed to? We have 10 minutes. Okay, good.
Hi, sir, I have something which is not around the novel but about Delhi Gadar. Why did, probably it's my age that's making me ask this question, but why did Sahadevan never find companionship? Why did he not stay with a woman? Why did he not have a romantic interest at all?
Why didn't Sahadevan in Delhi Gadar? Why didn't he find companionship? Why didn't he find love? Why was he alone?
But you didn't get time to fall in love, that is he was so much involved in life, life was a struggle. You see, when you struggle, it's very difficult to fall in love. I don't know, that's what I have felt, but you need extra time to fall in love.
Can I ask a sub-question? Actually, he said he can't write a love letter in French. Have you ever written a love letter in Malayalam?
Yeah, I would love, but at this age, I don't know. But at this age, if I write, I can write it to you.
Thank you.
Hi, sir. It's a privilege to meet you. Thanks to the VLR Lit Festival to do this. Sir, on Delhi as Philology itself, it covers a very tough phase of India, which is between the 1960s to 1984. Just wanted to get a glimpse of what inspired you. I know it's during your time in Delhi, but just wanted to get a glimpse of what experiences led to this book. Yeah.
Talking about Delhi Gata. Yeah, that is very much, you see, I lived there more than 40 years. So when I reached Delhi, I was a young boy. Then, see, the very year I landed in Delhi, China attacked India. So then it's a series of crises like that. 3 wars with Pakistan, then the declaration of emergency, Indira Gandhi's assassination, and later on, the Sikh genocide. So, and I was, in fact, when I started writing this Delhi Karthika, the problem was how to eliminate certain things, question of elimination, because if I put everything in that, it would be a novel of 1,000 or 2,000 pages. So much I have experienced, so much I have seen. And then when I started writing this is what I did, I did sort of editing myself. While writing, I started editing myself and eliminated a lot of things. And I retained only what really touched me or what touched society. So that is it. It's really everything I went through. But what I did as a novelist, what I did is that I put everything in a creative language. I gave it a narrative. And that's how I did it. Otherwise, it would have been a historical novel. It's still history. But I imagined certain things, and especially its language. And Sagadevan is my favorite character. There's a lot of me in him. Yeah, so I'm happy that you mentioned about him. I don't know, but frankly, I don't know why he didn't fall in love. Delhi is just like Bangalore. There are so many pretty girls. But he didn't fall in love.
Yeah, some there.
Hello, sir. Yeah, pleasure meeting you. And regarding the topic of euthanasia, and it's very interesting. This question came up while I was just listening to you speak about it. So one, euthanasia is because somebody is not able to die, someone else is able to, or influences that person to, die, correct? Because that person is not able to die by himself or herself. Now, it's a decision which the person who is supposed to be dying, which he is or she is not able to make. And I am thinking that maybe because there are so many people, like very famous saints and all, they are capable of leaving the body, at will, right? They can actually say, I don't want to live anymore, or they can go into some kind of a state and where they just leave their body. So the question is, I'm asking from the way you're looking at this as a concept, should euthanasia, because euthanasia is because I can't take a decision, should I be learning the skill of dying? No, it's more about whether I should try to find a way where I can leave the body at a time, even though I'm not capable of, dying. So that was more like a philosophical question. Sorry if it makes any sense though.
Euthanasia is it's not only a technical thing, it's a very complex idea. I talked with a doctor, and he told me, if euthanasia is allowed here, and he is asked by his superiors or the hospital to kill somebody, to inject, he said he can't do it. He said he can't do it. He would rather resign his job, but he can't kill somebody, So this is a problem. In India, it will be very, very difficult. Even if it is allowed, euthanasia, it becomes legally permissible. It will be very difficult. Nobody will come forward to kill somebody else, unless the professional killers, but no doctors. So there are so many things involved in this question of morality, and the religion also plays a role in it. A religious person, if a doctor is, even if he's a very, very efficient doctor, great doctor, but the back of his mind there is this religion and so many gods, it will be difficult for him to kill somebody. So there are so many things involved, but what I think is that, let it be permissible. Let it be legally possible. Then we will sort out the rest, all other problems. But we should have it, euthanasia. Why should people, there shouldn't be any more Arunash and Bag in India. No. So that way, I am in favor of that. This novel, my intention was by writing this novel to trigger, a debate about the euthanasia.
Sorry, before I take another question, did it trigger a debate in Kerala when the novel came out in Malayalam? What kinds of conversations did it create?
It did. Yeah, it did. People, so far people were not very much aware about this euthanasia, mercy killing. People were not well. They knew that there is something like that, but they didn't know that for example, in certain countries, in the Western countries, it's allowed. People can kill if you want, somebody who is terminally ill, then you can kill. That, not many people knew in Kerala. But now it is triggered. See, yeah, people asked me about when this novel came out. There was a lot of discussion about this novel, particularly about mercy killing. That way, I am happy that at least, as I thought, as I expected, it has triggered a debate.
Anybody else? Here, there's.
Hi, sir. Yeah, so each of your novel is entirely different. If you take Mayazhipuzhayude Thirangalil or Delhi Gadhagal or Kudana Nakuna Choyi or even the new one Ningal, each one is entirely different from each other, and the characters are also entirely different. So how it come to you? It is naturally comes to you, or is it a process that you decide, okay, I'm going to write about this topic, or my character, I'm going to decide this as my character. How that comes to you? Is that naturally comes to you? Or?
I can't hear properly.
Are you saying how does he arrive at what he
Yeah.
wants to write about?
Yes, yes. So, yeah.
How do you, because your stories are so different from each other and your characters, how do you decide what you want to write about?
Yeah, I thought of it. Well, you see, I have horror of imitating myself. So I want to write different thing. For example, this my famous novel is Mayazhipuzhayude Thirangal, on the banks of the Mayaji. It was big success, and then I could have, it gave me fame. It made me famous, so I could have sat on that and enjoying that fame and and even the money, But instead of that, I explore new avenues, new themes. And I believe in self-renewal. You renew yourself, and even in writing. And the novel I am writing just now, we are talking about it. That's entirely different. Now I am writing it, but I imagine that I am 22. I'm 82 actually, but while writing that, I am imagining that I am 22. So I'm trying, it's a new adventure in writing. A person who has crossed 80 is writing as if he is 22 years old. That is what I am working on now. So that is also the kind of renewal, I don't want to get stuck somewhere, So I am always on the move. I explore new themes, new narratives. So in that adventure, I even go backward. I become again a young man.
Do we have time for another question? Okay. One last question, if there is any.
മുകുന്ദേട്ട ചോദ്യമൊന്നുമില്ല, മലയാളത്തിൽ 2 വാക്ക്. ഇല്ല, ചോദ്യമൊന്നുമില്ല, മലയാളത്തിൽ 2 വാക്ക് സംസാരിക്കും. മലയാളത്തിൽ എന്തെങ്കിലും പറയൂ.
മലയാളത്തിൽ സംസാരിക്കണം.
നിങ്ങൾ എഴുതിയ മുഴുവൻ വായിച്ചിട്ടുള്ള
അതെൻ്റെ മലയാളം പുസ്തകം വായിച്ചാൽ മതി.
ഞാൻ വായിച്ചു.
അല്ലേ, അതല്ലേ നല്ലത്. മലയാളം പുസ്തകം ഇവിടേക്ക് ഉണ്ട്, അവൈലബിൾ. നമുക്ക് മലയാളം പുസ്തകം വായിക്കാം.
ഓക്കെ, ശരി, താങ്ക് യു.
I think we have to wind up now. I have one last thing I want to say, though. You've talked so much about love and growing young through writing again and so on and so forth. What does your wife have to say about all of this?
She's there. She reads. Before I publish, she reads. Not everything, but sometimes. But while writing, I don't discuss with everything, with anybody. Very rarely I do. Because I think, writing is something that comes out from extreme solitude, loneliness. But once I have written a few pages, I can discuss about it with everybody. That way I discuss with her. And you need a writer need a wife, because to understand the feminine mind,
So she's
yeah,
research
it was-
material for
because
you.
I am a man, however I tried, I wouldn't succeed to understand a woman's mind. For that, you need somebody close by. Yeah? So that way a wife can help.
Okay, I think we have to close now, but thank you for patiently answering all our questions. And it's such a delight to speak to you, as usual, Mundeta. Thank you, and we're all going to be looking forward to this new novel of the 22-year-old.
Me too. I have to thank you, all of you, and I should also thank the festival, Shiny, Anthony, I don't know whether she's here. I give her a big thank you for inviting me and give me an opportunity to talk with Karthika, and I'm very happy about it. So thank you.